Okay, well, I figured I better at least give you a little update about what's going on in the shop. I haven't done a whole lot with content here lately that really has amounted to anything. So figured I'd catch you up. I haven't really been working on anything that I normally should be working on here. Grown-up corn tool and cutter grinder, a little bit of progress, but nothing really worth even showing at this point in time. I'll be back on it probably maybe this next week, probably not until the following week. I've got my son's here visiting for a couple weeks, so he'll be here for another week, and I'm spending time with him more than playing here in the shop. Been working on the Sheldon lathe a little bit. There again, not any real progress there. Working on some measuring equipment to check some of the tolerances on that lathe as we put it back together, so we'll get back to it and start showing it. What I have been working on, and it's something that I normally don't really show on this channel at all, is my old 54 Chevy pickup. We've been doing quite a bit of work on it and getting ready to swap out engines, front end and rear suspension, rear end, all that good stuff. So that's where I've been spending most of my time, and I'll kind of show you what I got going on. I got crap sitting everywhere. We're also on a organization kick here, which doesn't work. You know, I mean, you've seen my dirty little shop. We're going to make a few improvements and some changes. I've added a new little tool cart that I'll show you here in a bit. I've got a Evolution metal cutting saw here that I'm waiting for another little cart that we're going to build a stand for to put that on. So that'll be coming up here this next week, actually. So anyway, what's going on with the truck is we're ultimately going to convert it over to Mustang 2 style suspension up front and triangulated rear suspension. Now I picked up a Ford Explorer rear end that's going to go underneath it. The advantages of that are it gives me, we're running 383 gears, I think, and it's a Ford 9 or a Ford 88. And the advantage is it gives me a little better gear ratio. It gives me a locking differential, gives me disc brakes, and it's just going to be a nicer setup all the way around. Motor wise, that truck originally had a 235 and it had the old 2 or 3 speed automatic, the old Hydromatic in it. That was changed right before I got it. I drove that truck with the Hydromatic in it before it became mine, and it got swapped out for a 4-speed. I'm going to put a automatic back in it. I've got a 700 R4 that I just purchased from a gentleman here that supposedly was rebuilt by a shop years and years ago. Never been installed. It's been garaged all the time, so it looks in real good shape. There was a repair done on the bell housing portion at one of the bolt holes, but it looks like it's a good repair. I'm going to drop the pan on it when I get that far and kind of take a peek inside and see what I think it needs, if anything. I'm hoping it's ready to go, basically, with install it and fill it with lubricant. Motor wise, we're going back to a 235 engine, which is what was originally in there. We're going to do a little bit of fancy work to it, so you know, it's not going to be completely stock, but we're not going to get too obnoxious with it. I've also picked up 2 motors for it. One of the motors was junk. I found out after I got them. Both of these were sitting in a field laying down on their side, so I couldn't check numbers and find out what they are. Turns out one of them was out of a 1956 car, I believe. Once I got it up, it's got a rebuild tag on it. It was already bored 60 over, and it's in ragged shape. I had to bust the pistons to get them out. The insides were corroded up and everything, and our little rodent friends had got in through the oil fill hole in the top and did nasty stuff to the inside. The lower end parts, the crank looks good, the cam looks good. The cam is going to go down, I think, to California and be reground. There's an outfit down there that supposedly does a real good job with these old stove bolt engines, so I think I'm going to send it down there. Now this is a solid lifter cam, which that motor did not originally come. It would have had hydraulic lifters in it, so it's been reworked extensively at some point in time. But like I say, the block itself is junk. I think I can salvage the crank. I think the cam's good. Lower end parts, I've saved the rods in it. The oil pump assembly will be good. There's quite a few good parts in it, but the block itself, and I think probably the head, is junk. So we got those going on. Let me move on out here and we'll show you what's going on, and I'll show you this new little tool cart. Okay, we're just going to do handheld here. this is my front end. I just finished building the front cross member and the shock towers there to go underneath the front. It's going to have rack and pinion steering on it. We'll put Ford Power rack and pinion on it. And the shock towers here, why they're as done as I'm going to get them for right now. They're not completely finished, but we're going to put coilover springs on this, so they'll get a little bit different mounting bracket on the big hole that's on the top there, rather than a normal top hat that would be there for shocks or something like that. So that'll get finished welded up when I figure out shock length and everything and get them installed. These are the rods that came out. Now this head, it's nasty looking head. We've got the valves and everything out. You can't really see anything from this angle, but that's what the head is. Worst case scenario, I'm going to use this. My intent is to cast my own intake manifold for this, so I've been working on some lost foam stuff for that. So I'll use this to lay out the patterns for that. That's kind of what's going on there. Other motor that I bought, and this is pretty much a complete motor. It's freed up on my little engine run stand, and there again, one of the projects was the front cross member for this, because we'd not had a stow bolt engine bolted up to it. So this front mounting I needed to do a bracket for that, and I don't know that I'm going to run it with this mounting bracket. It'll get motor mounts will get changed when we change out transmission. One of the projects is going to be a adapter plate to adapt the transmission to the motor, so that'll be coming up here directly. But I'm going to start tearing it down today and see what it looks inside. This one's free and looks to be in pretty good shape, so I'm optimistic that this is going to work. So, and then the only other thing truck wise is this is Explorer end. I've gone through it already. We've checked out the gearing on it. It looks pretty good there. Like I say, it's got a limited slip in it. And we rebuilt the calipers on both of them, and everything's back together and filled up with lube, all the good stuff. The only thing I will do is I have not changed these discs or the brake pads themselves for the main part. The emergency brakes are all set up. When I go to install this, I'll probably go ahead and change out both the drums and the pads. So let me mount this back on the stand and I'll show you this stupid little cart here. So this is a standard little Harbor Freight 5-drawer cart. As I've looked at tool chests and carts and things, I honestly think these Series 3 carts are probably just about the best value that's out there right now. And I've gone back and forth about what I wanted. This is still small enough I can roll it out to the driveway if I want to work on something out there. And I'm going to use it basically as my go-to cart for stuff. I've got 3 other sets of boxes. I've got a set of Cornwell Elites here, which is where most of my stuff is. I've got another Cornwell bottom box with a Waterloo top, and then I've got a early set of Craftsman boxes that I bought years ago. And I've debated on how I want to use them and things like that. For the most part now, most of them, other than the Cornwell Elites, are used for machine shop tooling. So I'm going to change all that out as time goes on. But value-wise, I think this is about the best value on the market. I got this at 15% off what they normally want for them. I've already done a couple of things to it, and I'm going to make some other changes. One of the mods the guys are doing is they don't want to have the drawers lock when you have the lid down. So what they're doing is they're pulling these plastic caps off, cutting these off flush, shoving the piece back up in there, and these sit down low enough that if you do want it to lock when you move it, well, you can put that whole piece back on and it'll work again. I'm not going to do that with this. I think I actually like the locking mechanism that's on their bigger 6-drawer tool cart that just snaps from side to side. And I believe my Cornwell boxes are that way. The top box is that way too on them. I may utilize that on here so that I can do it. The other thing that I've already discovered and done is on these Series 3, they put the little plastic rail underneath here so that you can just slide it side to side to one side or the other. On the right hand side, slide it back this way. On these 2 drawers, you have to slide them this way, and you unlock them and then they open up. Guys have complained about that. They didn't like that. Some guys say they really like it. What I've discovered is if you just push the drawer in that far, it snaps in and you've got a detent on them then anyway. So it snaps in. So what I've done is I've just gone through and I pulled all of those little plastic rails out. And it's just simple as can be. All you do is, they just slide in here. I think this is for the other side probably. Where's the one that goes on? I believe this is the one for this side. They set in there just like that, I believe. And then you've got your little rail to open them. You have to pull them that way and then out. Well, like I say, they've got enough of a detent on them so that if you just, come on, there we go. Those just slide out. You've still got enough of a detent on them. And if you're rolling it around, for the most part, you've got the lid down anyway, so the drawers are locked. So I don't see as how this is a real concern. I just took them out. If I ever decide I need them for some reason, I will put them back in. As far as what I've got in them, the only thing I've got in this bottom drawer so far is I've got a code reader and my timing light, just because they were in the way, and I thought this was a good place for them. This will be screwdriver drawer. Nothing, none of these are really organized yet. This top one's going to be ratchets and extensions. And there again, I've got multiple boxes, but I've also got enough ratchets and extensions to where if I don't have, the reality is I've got enough sockets or enough ratchets and extensions that I can have them in multiple boxes. As far as tooling, there again, I said I'm not a great Harbor Freight fan, or have never been a great fan. Their Icon line of stuff, like this breaker bar, I think they're a really good value for the tool, and I think they're just as good as probably anything else. Guys will say, well, a Snap-on ratchet's better, an Icon ratchet's better, a Mac or a Matco ratchet's better. I've had a little bit of everything over the years. This is a Snap-on 3/8, and this box I'm primarily going to set up for 1/4 inch and 3/8. I think I'm going to leave all my 1/2 inch stuff in my bigger Cornwall boxes for now, because I want this one to be somewhat lightweight and be able to roll it around. And primarily what I use is 1/4 and 3/8, unless we're doing bigger stuff. So I think I'm going to leave, I think this is going to be 1/2 or 1/4 and 1/2 inch, and I'll set my sockets up on the top. I haven't even started laying out for them yet. As far as ratchets go, this is a Snap-on ratchet. I bought this years and years ago. I love this little ratchet. It's already been warranted at least 3 times that I can remember over the years. And the problem we have with a lot of the Snap-on, this is a Mac ratchet. I really like this little ratchet, and this is one of my Cornwall ratchets. The problem I have now is, since I'm not in a working shop anymore, why I don't see the tool trucks every week like we used 2 years past. So trying to get any of this stuff warranted is a pain in the ass. So organization will happen with this as it goes on. I'm doing a lot of 3D printed stuff. This one I'm just going to use. These are pickup screw for early screw heads, just a pick. This is a primary punch that I use for bigger stuff. Those two and a hammer here is what'll happen for now. As far as wrenches, this is what I think, this is kind of what it's going to stay. It's going to change a little bit, but this is initial setup. Now, organization on these, one of the problems I've had with wrenches is if you don't have enough space in your drawer, why they get crammed into a drawer and stacked, and you fish through to get what you want. And that's been the problem with my Cornwall boxes with them in. I actually decided I was going to be organized, and what I've done in this is I've only gone up to inch size, a full inch wrench. Now this is a set of Craftsman stubbies, but I went to the inch size, and that's where I stopped my SK set here. My bigger wrenches, I think I go to inch and 5/8, and sockets I go bigger than that and up into 3/4 drive. But anyway, these are primarily the ones I used. Now what I discovered is these little organizers, and I really like them. Now this is one of the old style plastic ones that snap in. I've gone through the metal ones that have got the V's, shaped in a V on them. I actually like these better than anything I've seen. And I'll put a link to them in the description. They're Ernst Manufacturing, I think. And I really do like them. The only thing I don't like about them is they're tremendously expensive, in my opinion. So I've been playing with 3D printers, and I got these with a magnet in the bottom. So once you set them in, they stay there. And like I say, these are primarily the wrenches that I use. This is a set of Macs here. These are the SKs that I've used forever. SKs used to be the economy brand that you bought. Now they're pretty proud of them too. I've got some long, thin pattern wrenches here. That I use occasionally. They're probably not going to stay in this box. A set of flex head Macs, or 4 flex head Macs. The early ratcheting SKs, you know, directional SKs. There's a set of 4 of them here. And then these stubby Atlas, or Craftsman. I think a lot of these I'm going to go to is going to be, I'm going to try out the Icon brand. There again, I'm not a Harbor Freight fanboy, but I think they're giving you pretty good quality for your money. And the thing about them is there's Harbor Freights every place. So you can get stuff warranted, you can go and find what you need. These are my 3D printed version of the of these wrench holders, and I've got magnets. They'll be here today to go in this. But they come in a 3-piece and a 1-piece, and they're a modular system. I 3D modeled them and printed them out on the printer. Green's the filament that I had, so I don't mind prototyping with that, but you can put any combination you want. And I think I'm going to use these. I really do. I think I like them. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. It's just a rambling show of what's happening here, but that's kind of where we're at. So hopefully you find this a little interesting and a little useful, but there again, I think these are good value for your money, and I'm going to expand boxes. I can go, and as I start purchasing new boxes, I can match them to what they are, you know. So a year from now, I can go and buy another U.S. General box, and it's probably going to be the same dimension as the other boxes that I bought. So that's where we're at. Hopefully you find it a little bit interesting. That's kind of the update of what's going on. Give you a little peek. We'll be back on shop stuff here directly, you know, as winter gets closer. Why as it gets colder, why we'll be back in the shop more. Got to finish up the grown-up Quorn tool and cutter grinder. Got to get that Sheldon lathe back together and make sure it's going to do what I want it to do, and making a little airplane progress too, but darn little. So anyway, hopefully you find it a little bit useful. Comment suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.